been doing in the last 5 years is making sure that we celebrate this week. We celebrate because it's a week that is important for us to talk about our children and also our women and families in general, because we must talk about breastfeeding. So creation of awareness and advocacy is going on up to the county level. Now, at national level, we've developed several guidelines and policies that are supposed to help us understand what areas we need to tackle. And we've made sure that our health facilities are baby-friendly, and we keep evaluating to see how they are performing. Being baby-friendly means they must make sure they are supporting mothers right from the time the child is born, and the information is provided to the mother, and all health workers are aware. So there's a policy that all health workers are implementing and are adhering to. The other thing is that we have a law in place to prevent the influence of maybe the private sector in promoting the breast milk substitutes that will make mothers not breastfeed. And in that act, we have other issues that are touching on how the health workers should operate in that area of ensuring that our mothers are protected and our children.
We always forget the beneficiary, the person that is the recipient of our policies. How can we bring them on board so that they can be able to embrace what we are giving them, adapt it, and help them to change their behaviors at that level. And that way, you are now bringing the beneficiary at the table to make decisions on how they want to operate at that level, and what are their challenges, and how they would like us from the other end to help them.
What is KEPSA doing to support our moms in the workplace to ensure that they are able to breastfeed when they need to?
Let me start by saying that the private sector is the largest employer in this country. According to statistics 2015, we find that 82.6% of people employed were actually from the private sector, both formal and informal sector. And if we promote our workspaces and make them better for the young mothers, it basically means then the young mothers are able to return to work as expected, so that they can be comfortable. They can actually go on with exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months, because they are able to support and they are able to engage. Even as they work for us, they are able to continue with their main work of breastfeeding at that particular point. And we are going to be reviewing the workplace policies to see whether we can our companies are adhering to flexi time and also giving the mothers time off to go and participate in breastfeeding.
I would like to ask Teresia this morning to tell us what KOTU is doing, especially to help us in ratification of international laws that help us support and protect breastfeeding.
KOTU is a voice of workers in Kenya, and being a voice of workers in Kenya, we realize for a strong worker, it begins right from childbirth. And after childbirth, what is immediate fed to this baby is breast milk. So the healthiness of a worker begins right from birth and right from the time this worker starts on breastfeeding. We as KOTU negotiate with employers to try and have a realization to the need of the lactating mothers at workplace through provision of lactation rooms, whereby lactating mothers just after maternity leave are able to express the breast milk. We embrace the effort of exclusive breastfeeding up to 6 months, because we realize if we have babies who are breastfed longer, it reduces issues of babies getting ill at tender ages, which may make these workers be absent from work. KOTU, in collaboration with the Federation of Kenyan Employers and the Ministry of Health, has lobbied for the ratification of Convention 183 that covers maternity protection, and it is already ratified.
Gronia, I would like for you to tell us, one, what UNICEF is doing to help support the work of nutrition at county level, how improving nutrition can help drive our national development agenda.
UNICEF has a very privileged position of being the lead technical advisor to the government of Kenya, to the ministry, which means we're involved in all aspects of the nutrition sector. Everything that we do is about strengthening the government capacity to deliver a programme to reduce mortality and morbidity for young children. And breastfeeding is one of the best interventions. All the evidence is there that exclusive breastfeeding and continued breastfeeding up to the age of 2 is really one of the best interventions we can do to start a child out on a healthy life, both in terms of early child survival, but also in terms of becoming a healthy and productive adult later in life. And the work in the counties, there's a large emphasis on capacity development of the health sector to deliver this package of interventions. There's a large focus then on community programming. How do we make sure that mothers know to bring their baby and to take themselves when they're pregnant to that health facility? How do they know what type of information to get so that they can eat well during pregnancy and start off their baby before it's born so that it has the best nutrition possible? And then how to teach that mom in the first hour of life how to start breastfeeding so that she feels supported and motivated to continue exclusively breastfeeding up to 6 months. In order to reach Vision 2030, the vision statement is all about a healthy, productive, hardworking, economically competitive nation. And you can only do that if you have a healthy, hardworking workforce, and that starts from birth. So we have all the global evidence, and we can even see in Kenya that the more children are breastfed, and particularly exclusive breastfed, the better chance they have of becoming, first of all, of surviving childhood and the exposure to diseases that all children are exposed to. But secondly, then on having the ability for their cognitive development to achieve its potential, and then once they go to school to learn, and as they become adults to become productive adults.
What do you think is driving this accelerated move with uptake of exclusive breastfeeding?
I would say that we've been well coordinated, more than 6 years. We have all networks formed. We have the academia network, we have the civil society around us, we have the UN, we have the donors, we have members of parliament who are champions, and awareness creation accelerated than it was in the past. And now many mothers understand exclusive breastfeeding, what it means. We work together with all the other units, and then we've been able to partner with the various stakeholders, implementers on the ground, whereby we are able now to identify what is required and in which area, and we are able to focus on what we know can work. So we'd like to accelerate that, scale it up, and make sure that every county is properly led, there's coordination, and we'll be able to achieve the 80% that we are really targeting, that is the global target for exclusive breastfeeding. So those are the actions I think we've been able to implement. We know they're the ones that are working, the high impact nutrition interventions, and that is what has changed the trends.
Let us put action in what we believe. Beginning with the small actions, anybody you know expectant around you, a relative, a friend, begin conversations, begin to give information. That's how communities and nations are changed, by small actions, by individuals who believe in something. So let's pull together, and I believe in our lifetime we will see the impossible happening. Not too long ago, we held our heads in shame. We were 3%. 2 decades later, we want to step anywhere in the world because now we are the story. Everybody wants to know what has happened in Kenya. And that's a good season and a moment for us, I believe. You and I are very, very proud.
Kenya has made great progress to improve nutritional status. At the moment, 26% of Kenyan children suffer from chronic undernutrition, so we have work to do. Now, the immediate initiation of breastfeeding is the first effective immunization for a child. The breast milk immediately starts the building up of the flora in the intestines, and that shapes the immune status of the child adapted to the local environment. How much better can it get? Not one single industrially prepared product will ever be able to do this for a mother and for a child. We need to safeguard our progress in Kenya. The laws on maternity protection, related to the workforce, the laws on paternity protection are there. Maybe they can be improved, but they are a solid base. Make breastfeeding the modern way of life. And if we manage to do that, I'm sure that in Kenya, in a few years' time, 80 to 90% of mothers will breastfeed, and that the malnutrition rates will continue to drop steeply, and that we tackle the neonatal mortality rate. Thank you.
Kunyonyesha huleta afya, faida. Kunyonyesha hulinda watoto nyakati wa shida na majanga ya hali ya hewa. Nikunena na kutenda amani daima.